So for example 4, we have 4x squared minus 9y squared minus 32x plus 54y minus 53 equals 0. And we need to put this in a center form so we can see the vertex and the foci and the asymptotes. So this one is similar to the last one, but slightly different. I'm going to get my x variable terms together, skip a little space, then my y variable terms together, skip a little space, and then move my 53 to the other side. So collect your like terms or your like variables and move the constant to the other side. Now I'm going to have to do something slightly different this time because look, the coefficient of x squared is not a 1. So I'm going to factor out a common factor, x squared minus 8x, and I'm still going to skip some space. Here, I'm going to factor out a negative 9. So minus 9, and that's going to be y squared minus 6y, skip a space, equals 53. Now, I haven't introduced anything new, so I don't have to add anything to the other side yet. But now I'm going to take half of 8, and then I'm going to square that. So that's 4 squared, which is 16. So I'm going to put a plus 16 here. And then I'm going to take half of 6. And don't worry about the sign because you're going to square it anyway. So it's going to always be positive. So half of 6. And then square that. So that's 3 squared, which is 9. So I'm going to do a plus 9. Now I have introduced new things, and I've got to be extremely careful because I can't add to the left without adding to the right, and I have to be extremely careful here because look, I didn't just add a 16, I added a 4 plus 16, which is a 64, has to be added to both sides. I didn't just add a 9, I added a minus 9 plus 9, that's a minus 81. So I have to do a minus 81 on the other side. So now I can write this 4 times x minus 4 squared minus 9 times y minus 3 squared equals, and then I'll just add that 117 minus 81 is a 36. So here I have a 36. Now I need a 1 there, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by 36, all of these. Okay, and then that's going to give me an x minus 4 squared over 9 minus y minus 3 squared over 4 equals 1. So that's the equation of that hyperbola that originated with this equation here. Now in this format, in the original format, it's almost impossible to draw. You could plot a bunch of points, but finding them would be really hard. But in the new format, we know exactly how to graph this. So let's see. Draw a little graph here. I'm just going to sketch it. So I've got a center at 4, 3. Right? It's the opposite of this number, minus 4, and the opposite of that number, positive 3. So I'm going to go to the right 4, 2, 3, 4, up 3. That's my center only. Now my a squared is 9, so my a is plus or minus 3, but I'm moving from the center. So I'm going 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3 to the left. Okay, that's going to be my vertex and my other vertex. So that's V1 and V2. Now, I know that my vertex is on this horizontal axis because the x is positive, All right, my x term is the positive, and the x-axis is horizontal, so that's going to be my transverse axis there. So let's see, what else are we going to do? We're going to go b squared is 4, so b is plus or minus 2 from the center, so up 2, down 2, those are our guide points. And now I'm going to draw in the rectangle. Okay, that lets me draw my asymptotes. And so that allows me to draw my hyperbola through the vertex approaching the asymptote, through the other vertex approaching the asymptote. All right, so let's go ahead and note what our vertex is. Our vertex 1, we move from the center. Now look, this is y equals 3. So the y is going to be 3 on both of the vertices and on both of the focus, or the foci. Because remember, the foci are also on that transverse axis, somewhere around in here and here. We'll find those in just a minute. So think about what you did. We were at the center 4, and we went to the right 3. So 4 plus 3 is 7. And then we went to the left 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. And actually, according to the way I have it drawn, it would be this. So that's at 1, 3, and that's at 7, 3. And the focus, remember, our foci, to find it, we need to find c. C squared is a squared plus b squared. So c squared is 9 and 4. So c is the square root of 13, and it's the plus and minus. So from the center 4 plus the square root of 13 will be this one on the right. And of course, it's at 3 still on the y. So these y's are both 3's. The one on the right is 4 plus the square root of 13, and the one on the left is 4 minus the square root of 13. So we know where the center is, 4, 3. We've located both of the vertices and both of the foci, and the only thing that's left is to do the asymptote. So we know a point for our asymptotes. So for our asymptote, we know for sure that it goes to the center, which is at 4, 3. Okay, so this is our point. Okay, and so we've got 2 slopes, so we'll call them M1 and M2. And it doesn't matter if you do the positive one first or the negative one. But look what we did. We went up 2 to the right 3. So the slope of the positive one is up 2 to the right 3. And the slope of the negative one is down 2 to the right 3, okay? Down 2 to the right 3. So we're going to take these points and these slopes, or this point in these slopes, and we're going to use our format. Y minus the y point equals m x minus the x point. So the first one, y minus 3, is 2/3 x minus 4. Okay, and you can leave it just like that because MyMathLab does. So there's your first one. The second one would be y minus 3 equals negative 2/3 x minus 4. And again, you can leave it in that format because that's what MyMathLab does. So in summary, we found the center after we completed the square. And I think the most probable place you'll make a mistake is adding a 16 and a 9 instead of a 64 and a negative 81. So you got to be really, really careful with that part. That's how we found our center, by completing the square. Then we found our vertex by finding our A's and B's and just moving from our center, A to the right and A to the left, or minus A to the left, I guess you could say. That's how we found our vertices. And then we found our foci by using this formula, C squared is A squared, and that should say B squared. Glad I caught that. And then we found our asymptotes by using the center point, and we counted rise over run to find our slope. Rise over run. And that allowed us to write the equation of these two asymptotes.